Down to business. I got my wild cherry Diet Pepsi, and I got my blackjack gum here, and I got that feeling. Yeah, that familiar feeling. It's something.
There and welcome back. I know it's been a while since I did a video, and there's been a couple things that have transpired that I kind of wanted to do an update on, but I just never got around to it. So I'm going to kind of lump some stuff here all together. Now, one of the things that has recently come out is that our favorite little YouTuber, Suzy Lou, has as my daddy used to tell me, you know, if you dance, you got to pay the fiddler. And that's beginning, the chickens are kind of coming home to roost with this young lady. Now, as you all know, Suzy Lou had been streaming slightly edited and even just purely unedited anime videos. Sometimes, like if you on her YouTube channel, she would change the opacity of the video, but if you were a member of our Patreon, well, then you would get completely and totally unedited, uncut, fully viewable, with no changes in the opacity at all. And so, but anyway, there's been a couple things that have transpired. So let's take a quick look here. One of the things you'll notice right off the bat when I go here, this is her Patreon page. Okay, Suzy Lou's Patreon page, as you see, it says it's up for under review. Now, according to what Suzy Lou says, and Suzy Lou, we'll see right here with John Pescator. He, I think he's the one that originally broke this, or his team broke this news. And we take a look here. And this is Suzy Lou. Now it says inactive there, but we're speculating or suspect that that's because her Patreon has been suspended. And one of the terms of service that Patreon has is you cannot host, or you cannot put content through their service that is copyrighted materials. And that's been the whole crux of this whole debate and argument with Suzy, is that she is putting copyrighted materials out there on the for consumption. So back in December, as she says here, she's been talking about this since back in December. Well, the reason why she was talking about this back in December is because in December, during the holiday season, her channel was taken down due to DMCA strikes. And so, she started kind of freaking, panicking out, whatever. She contacted her YouTube liaison or account rep. Anyway, this person went back in to work while they were on a holiday break as well, and reinstated her channel for her. But anyway, that's kind of a little backstory there. Anyway, she goes, when she sold the Christmas cards, yada, yada, yada. She goes, in the email to explain exactly what benefits you will receive in the website as a VIP. And because you have just been charged for this month, she goes, there will not be any, and there won't be any content on Patreon anymore. You get a free month of subscription on her website. Now, she says the reason why is Patreon is very limited and what it offers, and that's why I'm deciding to part ways with him. Well, okay, she's spinning this. She is spinning this in a light that could be the most positive for her. Again, the speculation here, or the assumption here, if you will, is that her account has been is in the process of being terminated because, again, of the copyright material. But anyway, so one of the things that we want to dive into a little bit deeper here is that I believe it was here. No, here. Okay. So if you look here on this chat tab here, This is a video that another creator, Nicholas DeOrio, when it did, and this is a screenshot. I'll have a link to the video down in the description, and I highly recommend that you go and watch this video. It's about 13 minutes long, but Nicholas does an excellent job of going into a lot of information that is pertinent to this issue. But as you can see on here, Suzy Lou has at this point in time about 1,800 subscribers. At the time when Nicholas did the screen grab, Nicholas goes on later on, and I don't know if it's in this video, but at another source. But anyway, he goes on to say that that number was increasing at quite a rapid rate. And so, but even at this rate here, she was bringing in about let's see, hang on here, where is it at here? Let me bring up, okay. This one here, she's bringing in about $9,000 a month, okay, because she had one level of subscription, which was $5. All right, so 1,811. She was bringing in $9,000 a month solely from Patreon. Now you're asking yourself, Riverter, what does that number have to do? Why are you emphasizing on this $9,000 a month? Well, I'm going to tell you why. So that brings us to my next subject here, or my next point. So John Swan, who has his own history with Suzy Lou and her attempts to combat him and his critique of what she was doing. Anyway, he had some information shared with him, and one of the things that they were able to now this wasn't done through nefarious channels or anything like that, but they were able to deduce who her hosting provider was. Okay, now I'm gonna peel back the curtain a little bit about me. I'm an IT person, and I've been doing IT work for over 20 some odd years, closer to 30, honestly. And so we're going to discuss some things about this host here. Now, one of the things that this host is noted for is being on the top, as you can see here, it's the number 2 ranked for ignoring DMCA. Okay, this was also a host that was used by what was it, like Pirate Bay and these other type organizations that that host for illegal, nefarious activities. Okay, because they do not and they will not respond to DMCA takedowns. Okay, so, and why is that a thing? Well, because that's one of the things that Suzy Lou is facing right now. All right, because if you go and if you look at her social blade, which I'll bring up right now, we'll go in here. Okay, and then we'll come in here and we'll type in Suzy Lou. Well, if I can learn how to type here. Okay. So Suzy Lou, here she is. So as you can see here, Suzy Lou lost about 4 million, a little over 4 million views back on the 29th of last month. Okay. This was a period of time when, you see this right here, she lost about 4 million views, right? Well, this was a time when all those takedown notices were filed against her on her YouTube channel. Okay, because even though she was still she was putting up videos that animes where she was reaction to animes, and they were slightly cut a little bit, and they had the opacity of the videos had been changed. The legitimate owners of that anime caught up to her, and so they got her. So let's hop over here to this here is AbleHost. Now, AbleHost is in the Netherlands. It's considered an offshore hosting, and they have and different things that they offer on their servers. And one of the things that you have to understand about when you're looking at purchasing or renting rather a server to host a website on, there's certain things that you have to get. And one of the things here is, you have different amounts of bandwidth, right? So, you're going to ask yourself, well, what am I going to look at, right? All right, so, you've got different types of the CPU, and of course, how much memory it has in it, how much hard drive storage capacity, and so forth. Now, the two things that we have to focus on here in Suzy Lou's case is, and when we're trying to guess or trying to estimate or that type of stuff, is one, bandwidth, right? And two, storage capacity, all right? Because when you are uploading high definition or 1080, 1080p type resolution video, those files can be quite large, especially for like a 30-minute, 20 to 30-minute type video, which she typically has. So, the thing that you have to say, okay, so she could try to go on the cheap end here, right? What they call the budget servers, right? And you could, she could, 100 megabytes bandwidth is guaranteed, and it's unmetered, which means that, if I'm not mistaken, I believe when she says unmetered here, they're not, there's no cap, or there's no, they're not going to sit there and say, okay, well, you have X amount of megabytes of bandwidth, and then that's it, right? But what they're doing here is they're restricting the amount of bandwidth that you have, which is 100 megabytes. Now, you're going to ask yourself, okay, well, she could get by easy. She's getting around roughly $10,000 at one time. I don't know if she currently still is with Patreon, but around roughly $10,000 a month for Patreon for subscribers. She could get this top one there for $52.80 euro, but and it gives her 2 terabytes or 2 1 terabyte drives. So would that not work? Well, possibly. The problem is what you're going to get into is how many simultaneous viewers is she potentially going to have? All right. Well, that's going to be the crux of the problem there, right? So if she has, when we look back over here at Nick's video, she had a roughly right around 2,000, we'll say ballpark 2,000 Patreons. And I give the devil his due. You're not going to have those full 118 or 1,800 subscribers trying to view a video at one time. But even if you had half of that amount, let's say you had 900 trying to view whenever she releases a new video, this area right in here, these is not going to cut it. They're not going to have enough bandwidth to be able to support that many simultaneous streams. Okay, because you're looking at if you have 900 trying to access, all right. Well, you take 100 megabytes and you divide that by 900 people. Well, you're looking at about 1 kilobyte, roughly ballpark about 1 kilobyte per person. Well, you're not streaming jack dilly squat with that, right? So you're going to drop down on here into the 1 gigabyte, okay, the 1 gigabits or gigabits per second tier of servers. All right. Well, let's just say for ballpark, you know what? She could go for the full blown $499 or four. I'm dollar. I'm American, so dollar, but the 499 euro purchase their price. Well, and she would get only. She's only going to get one. Well, let's see here. Hang on. So let's back up and let's. What would be her best option, right? Because she's got to have storage space, right? But see, you're getting this 50 terabyte traffic. That's no good either, because that means when she hits the 50 terabyte block, well, then she's cut off. It's just like on your cell phone. When you hit that 50 or however much data you have on your cell phone, right? Well, then that's it. They start hitting you over, the charge overage, and it usually quite a lot. So she's more likely going to go into the unmetered part here, which means it's unlimited. But anyway, but the thing that the two things that she's really going to run into is the problem she's like. Okay, so the two problems that she's going to face, one is having enough bandwidth to be able to serve the amount of requests that are coming in. Okay, so the best options they have is 1 gigabyte service. All right, so if you look at that, so 1 gigabytes of service is 1,024,000 megabytes per second. All right, and so if we divide that, say, by 900, that's going to leave you about it's going to get about 1 megabytes per second. Well, even at that rate, guys, 1 megabyte per second is not going to. You're not going to do anything with that either. 1 meg. Most users, home users, when on the internet, you're looking at most users have what ballpark, say 10 megs. That's what I have is 10 megs down. But let's say to stream 10 or 1080p and not having buffering, you're going to have right around ballpark a little over 2 megabytes. Better to have 3 megabytes downstream to be able to stream 1080p. Bottom line is, guys, the basic service here that they offer, even the top tier ones, which is for 1 gigabyte. And then if you look at this one, let's see, which one was it? Yeah, right here with the two 1 terabyte SATA drives. That's going to give her 2 terabytes of storage capacity. Well, 2 terabytes sounds like a lot, but if she puts her entire catalog, or if she backlogs her entire catalog and uploads it, the 2 terabytes, dude, guys, I'm telling you, it's going to get chewed up real fast, and so she's going to have to add on, additional services. But I'm just trying to get a rough idea here. So we're looking at about 359 euros per month. Well, if we come in here and we go 359 euros per month, for me, or for over here in the U.S., you're looking at about $387.82 a month. Okay, so that's not bad, okay, especially for someone who's raking in $10,000 roughly ballpark a month on when she was having her Patreon. The problem that she's going to occur, what's really going to happen here, guys, is that 1 gigabyte service and even that 2 terabyte drive space is just not going to be enough, I don't feel like, without interruptions to her base. And the bottom line is, especially in the IT world, and this just from, like, for example, have you ever been at home and you've been trying to stream something from Netflix or Disney Plus or Prime or whatever, and you're fighting for, let's say you have 2 or 3 people in the house and they're all doing something, and all of a sudden you have a lot of buffering, and or you're trying to play, you're playing whatever game online that you like to play, and you just have a lot of lag, and how frustrating, aggravating that is. Well, that's what her customer base is fixing to experience, unless she goes and she gets something more than 1 gigabyte of throughput or bandwidth which be fed to that site that she's hosting. And then, like I say, the hard drive on the backside, that's a whole nother issue that she, whatever. And that probably is not going to be too terribly expensive. But the bandwidth to be able to serve that many customers at any given time, that's going to cost her a premium amount. And if she doesn't do this, well then, people are going to get frustrated or aggravated with the lack of service. Okay, so that's going to occur. The other thing I feel like is going to occur is because she's facing all these challenges from the anime companies. I feel like here in the next little bit, we're probably going to see not only her channel be taken down, but her boyfriend, Steve Joe, as well, because he's had several videos on his site that has been DMCA taken down as well. So they've got some real issues coming ahead of them. So if they're having to pay that monthly fee of 359 euros, bottom tier if they did that, then they're going to have some lawyer, potentially some lawyer costs here if there's lawsuits filed against them. There's just a lot of heat coming down on these two young people, and I don't think they fully understood what they were getting themselves into when back in March of 2019 they hopped on a little show called RFC After Hours with Augie and Tommy C, Nicholas DeOrio. I think Bo Blacks was on there, and maybe even potentially Keemstar. And they were so dismissive of him, saying, well, who are you? Because you have no subscribers. And I kind of covered that a little bit in my previous video on her. Well, as I said earlier in this video, the chickens have come home to roost. It has taken over a year, but it has occurred. It has occurred, and it's going to be real interesting to see just where all the cards land on this when it's all said and done. But I'm afraid that Susie and her fiance or boyfriend or whatever he is at this point in time, they've got a real rude awakening coming ahead of them. Anyway, that's it, guys. I'm wrapping it up for the day. Y'all take care and stay safe out there, okay?